Not going. Go.
Hi.
We're live.
Hey,
Hello, everybody. Cindy Ashton here in the amazing.
Christina Daves. Hi, everybody. Happy Monday.
Oh, is it Monday already?
I know.
Oh my God. I guess because last weekend it was like Canada Day, then it was 4th of July. So it still feels like we're coming off this holiday. And it's like, oh, it's Monday again.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
And here we are. Super
here we
excited to share
super
with you what we're
excited.
doing
Super.
tomorrow.
I know. So tomorrow we have a free live training on how to really go from established to known. And today is a bit of a sneak peek of what you're going to learn.
Teaser. Teaser
The tea.
alert.
Yeah. I mean, Christina and I see so many of you, and you're just so brilliant. We look at you posting online, and we're like, God, they're so smart. And we see the same people going, I know I'm so smart, but how come I can't charge more? And how come somebody else in my industry is in the media and I just saw them in the New York Times and it's not me? How are they doing that? Or why are they on this big stage and I'm not? How do I get there?
And that's what we're going to talk to you about tomorrow. We're going to show you how to do it. Because, and especially in the PR piece, that is what I hear the most is how are they getting on TV? How are they getting interviewed? Like, I'm better than them. And I get that. It took me a
Yeah.
while. I was the same way, like, how is this happening? And then I figured it out and figured out
Yeah.
how I can do it and how I can show other people to do it. And same thing for being on stages. You know, when you get that media, if speaking is what you want to do, that really up levels you. When you're that person in the media, meeting planners are like, oh, that's a no brainer. We want them because you've got all that credibility and authority that comes with it.
Yeah. Stacey Montgomery is awesome. Hey, hey, Stacey. So happy to have you here. This woman is brilliant, brilliant. Her son was heavily bullied growing up, and she has turned that into her superpower. And she has the best materials I've ever seen of anybody who's going into schools and really helping with bullying. Like, she's so brilliant. Um,
Amazing.
yeah, it's amazing. That's what we're saying is we have so many
Oh.
amazing people in our community. It's like, how are we going to get you there? So one of the things we wanted to talk about that we're going to be going in depth with on the training is that there are a lot of people out there who are like, hey, we're going to help you to be the top thought leader, the most sought after expert. And there's a few challenges that we're going to talk about tomorrow, but there's a lot of challenges with what's out there and what's true and what's not. And the majority of it out there is actually false. It's actually really, really outdated outdated strategies. Just a couple of highs, and then Mithla. Mithla's awesome. She's another badass, totally amazing. And I love how Stacey is owning that she wants to be known. She's really amazing. Every time I see her materials, my mind is blown. Um, so the challenge is there's a lot of people selling the thought leadership, and the problem is, and we're going to go in depth, like we said tomorrow, of all the ways that it's that they're actually either selling fake credibility or outdated strategies, or they're selling hype, or they don't have a system or a process in place, or they're not looking at the whole picture because it's not just getting media attention, it's not just getting on stages, there's a whole system that needs to be in place. But Christina, I'm going to let you talk about one of the biggest myths that's very outdated that is still being done all the time. This is going to be your rant. We
Yeah.
really want to warn you of this, and
Hold
then we'll go
on.
into the rest tomorrow in the live training. So I'm going to let you go into your rant, and I'll pipe in.
Yeah. Stop sending press releases. And I'm not just telling you this. I have interviewed so many journalists who, yeah, if it's there, they might look at it. But when you send it out on the wire, I want you to think about back before the internet. For those of you my age or older, you remember the Rolodex. So a PR firm had this golden Rolodex where they would send a press release out, but it would only go to certain people. And you only sent a press release if it really mattered. Now anyone can send a press release and you send it, people are doing it for SEO, people are doing it for backlinks, but they're not getting interviewed. They're not getting press from a press release. So it's really important to learn what you should be doing now instead of the press release because press releases are expensive. They don't work. And now I'm going to really get on my soapbox. They are
Wait, she
housed.
hasn't gotten there quite yet.
I'm
Go
not
ahead.
there yet. I'm almost there. They house your press release on servers. So you'll get a report from your press release company that will say, ABC, Idaho, Iowa, North Dakota, Virginia, New York, NBC, blah, 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 blah. That doesn't mean you were as seen on. That doesn't mean you were interviewed on those. You have to be able to show a link or a screenshot or something, PDF, that shows you quoted in the media, not just that they took your press release and basically hung it on the wall for 48 hours and then they took it down. That's not real press. That's fake press. And there are companies that will sell you this and tell you. I actually had a potential client, and when I met with her, I was like, oh, why do you need me? You've been on 400. You've got all these logos on your website. She had taken every logo from the press release report and put it on her website. That is not real media. So tomorrow we're going to show you what real media is and how you get it. And it's not using a press release. I'm done. Drop the mic.
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm just going to let Christina run with this.
I get so worked up about this.
Well, it's upsetting because there's so many people like a Stacey or Mithla who's on this call who are both brilliant women. And a lot of people like them don't know because they're like, oh, this person has, and this person has a proven track record. But if you actually look at the track record, it was from way back in the past, and they don't necessarily have up to date, success stories. And
Cindy, let me jump in again. Not even up to date, but even post-COVID up to date. What I taught in February 2020 is very, very different than what we're doing now in 2023. So we had another major shift that happened in COVID that if those people haven't updated like we updated, you're paying for nothing. Like, you're not going to see results. You've got to know what we're doing now in 2023.
So Stacey said, good to know. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Susan Eckert we haven't met. We're going to hang out in Manhattan soon. She's like my new soul sister. She sings, she dances, she's overcome enormous health stuff, and she does amazing stuff with mindset. Again, another brilliant woman who deserves every single stage on this planet. It's awesome. But yeah, I mean, you deserve to be quoted. You deserve to be interviewed, legitimately quoted and interviewed. I mean, it's irreplaceable. And we're going to talk a lot about that tomorrow. So the second thing we want to talk today is, what does it really take to be seen as that sought after expert? And the challenge that we're seeing is two things. And the first is that what's happening with a lot of you is that you don't know how to pitch at all, or so you don't do it, or you try to pitch, but then you have these really long pitches, or they're all about you, or they're like, I just want to get media for my new book. I just want to do, and we're going to talk about why that actually doesn't work tomorrow. But there's a lot of really brilliant people out there who don't realize this. Again, the way the industry is right now, there's very specific ways you need to be pitching, and it's not just short and succinct to the point. There's very specific topics and ways you need to position yourself that we're going to go into in the live training tomorrow. And I'm sure you've all noticed it. For those of you who have not pre-registered yet, just go to getprfamous.com/live training. The other piece is, we touched on this a little bit, and we're going to go into this deeper tomorrow, is that a lot of the solutions being sold out there aren't holistic. So we're going to give you one example now and then go into details tomorrow. For example, there's a lot of PR people, and some of them will get you into the news. Like, you hire a publicist at $5,000 a month and they get you in the news, and that's awesome, but then you're not invited back. And you're not invited back because they're not giving you media training, or the media training is basic media training, which is, when Christina and I met, it was like immediate fire because she's the PR side, I'm the speaking side. And when COVID hit, because we met right before COVID, our love story is like, our business love story is amazing. But we're like, wait a second, people can't go out and network or get on stages. So we combined forces, and it just started with a few clients. And now we've got a full-on business, and 90% of both of our income business comes together, which is super awesome. Because the truth is that you can get on the media, but if you blow it, I mean, I think about our client, Amy Cherry. We did a pitch with her last Wednesday, and she went back to every single person because she's already been on lots of media, NBC, radio, in one of our programs called Pitch Club. And she emailed us the next day, actually later that day, because she
Did I
just
say?
followed up. And because she did such a great job on the radio, on this one radio station, within a couple of hours, he rebooked her. And it's like how you present yourself matters. And that's just one example of how a lot of the solutions aren't holistic enough. And we're going to go into all the pieces because it's not just the speaking and the PR. There's other pieces that we're going to go into tomorrow.
And it's putting everything together. But I can't reiterate enough what Cindy just said about if you get that opportunity and you blow it, because it is a one and done. When if you guys follow me, I've been on my local television, I don't know, 6 or 7 years now, and I prepared like we teach our clients to, so that when I finally got the yes and I went in there, I knocked it out of the park, and they said, come back anytime. And I'm going to be on next Monday. Like I practice what I preach, but they know, and they don't even ask me anymore. They know I'm going to bring good stuff. Like I have to give them kind of a general overview about what we're going to do, but they know I've done it so often. That's what you want. You want to be that person that you're so good, that you've been trained so well that you just give a knockout interview. And then they say that pitch anytime, come back anytime. We love you. We want you back.
Yeah. And it's so much fun. And, a myth that comes up a lot is that you have to already, quote unquote, be somebody. I mean, you're already somebody. You're already fantastic. But a lot of people think you already have to be famous in your field to get media, to get on stages. And it's like, don't actually. And again, we're going to talk about why somebody who is an expert in their field, but never been on a TV show could get there. We're not saying Today Show right away. And we do have the executive producer of the Today Show on our team, which again, we'll talk about this tomorrow. But you're not going to get on the Today Show right away, but you can absolutely get local television, and go there. Oh, there's Denise Graziano. We love her so much. Hi, Denise. She's a client of ours, and she's gotten a ton of press. And she's a wonderful speaker, and again, just so mind-blowingly brilliant. So thank you for that beautiful comment. Nobody better than us helps with these skills and strategies. So sweet. We love her. Such a good soul. The last thing we wanted to talk about was the power of this. And I know some of you have been following my video series on how to land speaking engagements, because there's different strategies, but one of the best strategies you could ever have is landing media attention. And here's an example. Do you want to explain this, or do you want me to explain it a little bit?
You can go ahead.
Okay. So you go to, you see this opportunity for a speaking gig, you go to apply for it. And by learning how to pitch to media, you're going to have better pitches for your speaking. And when they go to check you out, they're going to go, wait a second. Denise has an article in Inc. magazine, legitimate article that she didn't pay to be in there. By the way, never paid for press. You could pay for a publicist, or you could pay for strategists like us that can help you to learn how to do it. You should never, ever be paid. Never pay. Somebody approached me from the UK to be on a cover of a magazine, and I thought it was a hoax, right? So I'm like, okay, what does this cost, right? She's like, nothing. And I'm like, oh, this is legitimate. This is legit, because there's a lot of pay to play right now, and you shouldn't be doing it.
And let me tell you why you don't want to do it, and I have a client who paid a lot of money to have a television segment done about his company. I mean, a lot of money. And here's the problem. And they did this they did this before they hired me. Once you pay, nobody's going to put you on editorially, because you're now a pay to play person. You want to position yourself as the editorial expert. And we'll go into that tomorrow, but you really will struggle because the other networks know, oh, they paid $50,000 for a television segment. We can just charge them to be on. And it's a different type of segment. It's sponsored, but that's why you don't want to. Because once you do that, you're climbing an uphill battle to get out of that pay to play.
Yeah, I'm glad you talked about that. Yeah, so I mean, the thing is that all of a sudden, somebody's Googling you, they see that you have an article in Inc. magazine. Over the other speakers are like, wait a second, this person's been in Inc. and ABC and the Wall Street Journal. Wow. It's an instant wow, but it also allows you to charge more, and it gives you more leverage. There's some questions coming in. it's for those of you, because I know some of you on this stream really want to be on bigger stages and paid more. And especially for women, statistic before COVID, I don't know what it is now, was only 29% of women were at the 10,000 mark and above as a speaker, as a keynote. And I'm going to tell you, because I was doing a lot of keynoting before COVID, that it was usually me, the female, and 5 other men as speakers. And they all had massive press attention. But it was hard. And I love men, but we need more women on these stages. So similar to screenwriting, when you know what you deliver, they ask you to bring in more stuff.
Love it.
How does this apply to book reviews? Kirkus made business out of this.
I don't know exactly the question in terms of, because I don't think you pay for reviews with Kirkus. I think that was right. They just,
I don't know.
Again, I mean, I'm going through that with my podcast right now. And I get excited when, it's not my family and friends who've left reviews. It's people I don't know. That's very important to do that. So I'm not exactly sure what that question was for the book reviews, but anytime you pay for something like this, you pay to appear to be better than you are, bigger than you are. It's fake credibility, and people know. Cindy and I had a recent client, and when I first met him, he's like, "Oh, but I've been with this person, and I have pictures with this person." And I'm like, "Yeah, but who cares? Who really cares?" And we did the funny thing in a wax museum. We're taking pictures with Brad Pitt and George Clooney, but that's really kind of what it is. And who even cares? Even if you met them in real life. What does that have to do with your business and growing your business, unless you're partnering with them? That's a whole different story. So again, soapbox rant, sorry.
I know. and just for it says LinkedIn user, in terms of book reviews, again, that's a different category. What we're talking is about you being quoted and all these pieces, unless you're also asking about, can you get publicity for your book? And that's a different conversation, which we're going to talk about tomorrow. Because again, if you start pitching your book to the media, they're going to be like, we don't care. That sounds so terrible to say that, but it's the truth. And we're going to talk about why.
But there is a way to really make your book a huge asset for you when you're pitching the media. And we'll talk about that tomorrow.
I love that. So tomorrow we have our live training. Christine and I will be on tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern time. If you have not registered before, go to getprfamous.com/live training.
Awesome. And we will see you there. Bring all your questions to that.
Yeah. Yes, bring all your questions to that. It's going to be amazing. We can't wait to see you there. Bye, everyone.